Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points, episode 3. I'm your host, Matt Clausen, joined as always by RJ from Do You Take Cards?
Hey, everybody.
The awesome Tariq Gaines.
Yo.
It's getting a little tiresome, Tariq, not saying a channel. Just putting that out there. And Lani from Call Me Lani. How are you today, Lani?
That is what they call me, and I appreciate that. And I am doing well.
Absolutely. All right. So as always, we have our format of going through the news. We're going to do a quick news roundup, go from there. So when it comes to news, the top items we have, Wells Fargo has announced 2 new credit cards. These are their co-branded credit cards with Expedia. I did videos on them in a tidbits that came out on Friday. There is a no annual fee card. There is a $99 annual fee card. One card will come with Expedia's one key silver status. One card will come with one key gold status. Both cards will have primary auto insurance, which is pretty cool. These are cards primarily aimed at people who travel only every so often and prefer to book through online travel agencies. So if you're an Expedia fan, this is the card for you. It's going to make your life a little bit better all the way around because you'll get some of those perks that we talk about with like hotel status. So that is pretty cool. Did anyone else see these cards? Have any thoughts? Anything we wanted to bring up?
Yeah, not about the cards themselves. And I totally agree, especially with the Expedia one, that for the nomads, and I'm thinking of like going back to college, the spring breakers, the ones that actually like. So when I was in college, I was out of my friend group, there was like 9 of us. I was the only one that was from the United States of America, born and raised here. And so for like spring break holidays, all my friends would always go to other countries and things like that. So for an Expedia card, that's my first thought is that subset of people, that'd be perfect for them, where it's just like quick trip or quick booking or something of that nature. But all in all, outside of the cards, and I think we talked about this about 2 weeks ago, especially like after the whole built news that no one wants to talk about anymore. But Wells Fargo is doing their thing right now. So it's really good to hear, they got their P&L, they got their profits and their losses. They're also dropping new products that are very, 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 very niche. This is not a card for everybody. This is for a specific type of person. This is I can't say for sure, but this to me looks like it's an obvious response to, hey, we need to like close some gaps in the business somewhere.
Yeah, I think these are not sexy cards. Like these are not like the high-end cards that a lot of the people in the credit card community want. But these are definitely the cards that like they need to fill out the lineup, right? Like they don't want to be Capital One with like for good credit, for fair credit, for okay credit, for your mom's credit. Like they don't want to have that, but they do need to have sort of a completely full lineup. These are not cards for people like us, but they are cards for people that they can bring in and maybe they get in a tune, maybe they get a journey, maybe they go into other places that I think like Amex doesn't have something like this, right? Chase doesn't really have something like this to where you're very casual, stay a couple of times a year. So I think it's good. I think it's a good way to fill out their roster. It's just not something that most people like us are going to get super jazzed about.
And that's the point. I don't think not every card has to be for weird small niche of like points maximizers. There's going to be people that are free agents that are going to book with the Expedias or hotels.com or, with one key. And I think now that I'm seeing like just Wells Fargo just adding like hitting like every corner of the market, I'm just waiting on them to fully strike on the potential. Let that be with the autograph beyond or in their transfer portals, but it's coming soon, and I think a lot of other banks are going to be caught with their pants down once Wells Fargo is like starting to get even more serious with it.
And for our next article, we've got Citi shutters unused credit card accounts with losses soaring. So when we sock drawer cards, you are costing the bank money. You may not think you're costing the bank too much money, but when you're not using your cards, the bank now is taking on more liability with your unused credit line. And eventually, if you're not using your credit line, they're going to shut it down. Now, it doesn't say like how long folks were not using their accounts for before Citi decided to proactively shut down the accounts or limit their credit lines. But typically, we've seen this with other banks, like JP Morgan Chase will cut your credit line if you're not using your card enough. Wells Fargo can do that. Discover and Capital One are notorious for doing things like this. So, or well, Capital One before anyone fact checks us. Capital One will definitely do it. So you are a liability to the bank when you're not using your cards. So Citi shuttering unused credit accounts. They've got losses soaring in terms of having to write people off for not paying their full account statements. So business side, this makes sense. It being Citi grabbing the headline, maybe a little less so, just because they were riding that high of the Strata Premier. Although I won't say anything else about the Strata Premier. Do you guys have any other thoughts on this one?
I think a lot of people who think of credit cards as like an emergency fund get in the habit of they'll put an emergency on the card and then they don't touch the card again as they're trying to pay it down, but then they try to pay it down by minimum payments for a while as they're trying to recover from whatever emergency that is. And then the card sits there for 5 or 6 months just getting minimum payments. And from a bank's perspective, I get why the bank gets nervous, if you're doing this multiple times, if you're not using the card really in between these emergencies. So I think part of it is credit card literacy, and people don't understand that that's not really what credit cards are for. Some of it is bad behavior of people with impulse, issues and buying and purchasing. And some of it, I'm sure, is people, we have people that we all know with 20, 30, 40, 50 cards. Like, you can't use all of them to their full potential at that point, or you got more spend than I can dream of on my best night.
I just think for me, and I'm a data point for this, how brutal it can be, even with like niche store cards. For anybody that knows about Discount Tire and their credit card, which is issued by Synchrony Bank, that was my first credit card I got back in 2019. I had to buy some new tires for my car, and I did not use that card for literally since then. So it was like 4 years later, and they just closed the account, which painfully ironically was when I needed to buy new tires for my current car. And I was not able to use the discount tire financing. And now that I'm already in the game, I was not about to burn a 524 slot for financing. So thankfully, my parents also have the card and they don't care about 524 or points and miles. So they were able to help me out. But yeah, I wasn't going to use the card because there was no rewards. But yeah, I probably should have done something, put something on the card because yeah, it when I needed it the most, it was like the avatar; it just disappeared.
So I used to have a Citi card way back yonder. Sorry, that's my dog trying to get in my office. But I used to have a Citi card way back yonder. There you go. Kick hard enough. Hey, bud. Sorry about the interruption. And this happened to me. It got canceled. God, just never used it. And I can't even tell you what type of Citi card it was, what I got from it, what type of earnings or redemption values. It's been that long since they cut it off. But the flip side of it is, other than what Matt had mentioned with people having to get written off just because they haven't paid and those types of things, it's a good thing. If you cancel your card, depending on how you cancel it, when you cancel it, could affect your credit score. But if a bank does it, it's like a bank error in your favor. It's just a free win. It's not your fault unless you're delinquent. But if it's just sitting there at zero, let's just say sitting there at zero, great. You did me a solid, you know? But it makes total sense. As you mentioned, it's a business and they have credit lines that are out there. This is part of their business. This is on an Excel sheet somewhere. How much money do we have available to lend and how much is actually being used? And if you're on the bottom of that list of so and so has $10,000, 20, $30,000 in a card and not using it, man, we can go get that to someone else that is going to use it. We're going to get that interest off of. So makes total sense to me.
Do you guys, when you have cards that you don't use, do you shutter your credit line to other cards so you can be using that? Or do you sort of leave it there and just go back and forth?
I kind of just leave it there, but it also depends on the card. So I actually still have my first credit card I ever got, and it's an American Express student card, like a blue student card. Yeah, it's the clear one with the blue square on there. Um, I can't tell you the last time I used that card. American Express will not cancel it. They just won't. They actually, literally this week, the replacement because the old one expired showed up in the mail. They just won't cancel it. So I just kind of like leave it there. Hopefully one day they will cancel it. Or if I ever need to, for example, like the 5 American Express card rule I ever fall victim to that, sure, I might go proactively cancel it. But no, just let it sit.
I was definitely kind of a leave it. I haven't really needed to, but mostly because I was straight in the cashback game, so I haven't had different cards that will kind of mesh and transfer different limits to. So it's just kind of sitting there. Um, Probably like with my chase cards, like once I feel like I'm getting close to like that 50% with the income credit limit, I might start moving because I have, I think, like an unnecessarily high amount on my Amazon Prime card, and I don't buy enough stuff with Amazon Prime to warrant the limit. So that'll probably be moved for like a new card. So I don't know if it does personal to business because I would love to increase the my income limited, but at the end of the day, yep, I'm just gonna leave it as it is until I can have more cards in one ecosystem.
I'm actively trying to move one credit line that is my Capital One Quicksilver because I'm not really using my Quicksilver anymore. I'm trying to move that over to my Saver One. There's hassles because Capital One. So I'll have to get that figured out. The other card that I'm gonna have to figure out my credit line with is my X1 card. It's really hard to deal with a dead card, or like a no longer publicly available card, just because it has a really high limit, and I will let them close it, but I've got to get some personal cards that will equal that limit over time. Not necessarily from the same issuer, not necessarily like in one card, but I am going to have to offset that limit at some point. But I'm going to let that card die the slow, painful death it deserves after the conversion over to Robinhood and how things have been going since that happened. TLDR, not great. Um, so yeah, cities shuttering unused credit card accounts absolutely makes sense on our end. If you want to keep your cards, use your cards. We're going to move over to our last news item. That is Capital One and Walmart have ended their partnerships, and the Walmart cards from Capital One are getting converted to Quicksilver cards from Capital One. So Capital One and Walmart, Capital One was issuing the Walmart credit card. Capital One is the second credit card partner for the Walmart credit card. Walmart was previously with either Synchrony or Comenity, one of those two. They decided that they weren't fulfilling their needs. They went to Capital One. Capital One was not fulfilling their customer service needs. So now Walmart is going to go somewhere, and we don't know. But Capital One is keeping all of the accounts, and they're getting to convert those Walmart cards into Quicksilver cards. It's not ideal in that you were getting 5% at Walmart on the card, and now the most you're going to get is 1.5%. I think in terms of just getting a conversion over with, the Quicksilver makes the most sense, but I'm sure there are people who are going to be affected by this who will want either a different Capital One card or may just leave Capital One altogether. I would assume like a Saver One card would make some sense for folks. I think the Walmart card is the MasterCard. So if it is, you should be able to contact Capital One and ask if they can make it a Saver One. But your mileage is definitely going to vary. And it's Capital One. Who knows what they do on any given day?
I'm interested if this ever affects the banking side, because I know if you have a Capital One account, you can go to Walmart, hand them cash, and Walmart will put it into your Capital One account. So if the breakup is bad enough, I wonder if you will not be able to do that any longer.
I'm really hoping it's not an ugly breakup between Walmart and Capital One. But, in regards to converting to the Quicksilver, hopefully you can convert it, especially for those that are cashback that are not really into travel, get the Saver One if Capital One plays nice. But like we said, it's Capital One and your mileage will vary.
I don't have a dog in this fight because I don't pay attention to Capital One. And I'm also not into Walmart. Back home in Illinois, yes, my hometown had 4 Walmarts in it, but where I live now, the closest Walmart's 40 minutes away. But to go to Tariq's point, yeah, I mean, for those that are affected, I hope it's a clean break or at least a clean transition for them. Walmart's a big company and they don't actually play fair, which is probably why they're going through all of this at the moment. But that could affect a whole lot of people, especially if you only got that card for Walmart. Like, this could really affect. But then on the other side, on the card side, on the Capital One side, yes, I think they should allow those impacted customers to product change or choose which product they want to change to. Give them some type of change option or opt out or out option in general because of this. Um, but I don't feel too comfortable that it's going to be super clean at the same time because even as Matt, as you just mentioned, if Walmart goes somewhere else, I have to apply for a new Walmart card. No matter what, I got to apply for a new Walmart card, which might not be a feasible solution for every single one of those Walmart card holders.
Yeah, especially if you had gotten into the game and then you learned about the game and you follow Chase's particularly quirky marketing strategy, and then you have to ask yourself if it's worth one of those marketing slots when you have to apply for that new Walmart card. But we'll just have to see what happens on the Walmart side of things. Again, hopefully it's clean, but when big banks and big companies square off, who ends up winning?
Walmart.
Yeah.
Walmart usually ends up winning.
Definitely Walmart.
And if you guys want to say something different about that, head to Benton, Arkansas, and let them know your feelings. Or is it
Just
Bentonville?
be advised, if you go to Bentonville, they're going to give you a comment card and you're going to put it in the slot, but that slot is just a paper shredder.
Nice. There we go. All right, so that got a little downery. So let's move over to our topics. I guess I'll start this week. I think I started last week. We'll have someone else start next week. But the topic I wanted to talk about is rewards network. I want a rewards network subscription, and I'll tell you why. I think it's weird that Rewards Network doesn't offer a subscription to customers. They're very back end. The way that their business works, and if you're not aware of what Rewards Network is kind of a white label for rewards with a bunch of the big airlines and hotels. So Delta Dining, American Airlines Dining, United Mileage Plus Dining, JetBlue's TrueBlue Dining, all of the dining programs run through Rewards Network. On the hotel side, it's Marriott Eat Around Town, it's Choice Privileges, and Hilton are the big ones that I can rattle off the top of my head. There's also Built now has joined Rewards Network, but Rewards Network is sort of a white label. You sign up for the dining program, you attach your credit card to that dining program. When you swipe that credit card at a participating restaurant, you get not only your whatever rewards your credit card gives you, but you also get rewards in your dining program of choice. I'm surprised that Rewards Network hasn't allowed you as a customer to go to Rewards Network and say, "Hey, I want to give you Rewards Network some amount of money per year, and you let me attach my one credit card to as many or a set number of other dining programs." Because if I could do that, I would take my Chase Sapphire Reserve and do United Mileage Plus dining, Marriott dining, and Built dining all at the same time. And I would still use my Hilton card for my Hilton dining. And if I get an American Airlines card, maybe that card for American Airlines if I jump into the American Airlines system. But I'm surprised that Rewards Network doesn't have a subscription model for consumers. I'm just going to use this little platform here to say, I want one. I think it would be great. We'll go around the horn. Tariq, do you have any thoughts on this idea?
I think the rewards network subscription would be pretty cool, especially having like the option to choose whether points or a airline or hotel currency you want to choose, instead of when you link your card to one, it immediately takes off the other, because that gets annoying. I mean, using mileage plus dining is probably the most I can get. So I get, with the VIP, I'm getting 5 United miles. So I'm like, do I really want to try for any other ones because of the redemption? So I'm like almost handcuffed to mileage plus dining for that reason, just because I want to earn a bunch of United miles. So having the option to either like a paid subscription to earn maybe like United and IHG or something, or just having the one it gives you the option to be like, do you want to earn United miles, or do you want to earn Marriott points or Southwest points or whatever? I think that would be a cool free subscription, and then the paid would be able to have like multiple at one time, because that would probably be worth paying some annual subscription, whether it be like $50 or $60. I mean, I would I put $60 in from actual Wars Gold to get all my offers, so I'd pay for that.
Yep, and Built dining as well. Built getting another transfer currency with your transfer currency sounds really enticing. RJ.
I think the reason that they will never do this is because the loyalty programs who are attached to them would pull out and either go somewhere else or start their own thing entirely. I don't think that Delta wants you to be able to earn Delta and United miles at the same time. I think they very much would like you to use Delta or to use United, but not both at the same time. I don't think the companies who are making the loyalty programs want that much usability and flexibility. They want Tariq tied to Miles Plus X. They want him locked in and checking that app and using that app and thinking about that app all the time. And he is complying magnificently. But that's what they want, right? Because they want you to be thinking about their product. They don't want him to be thinking about, hey, Delta has these other things. Maybe I'll go try them and see what they have. Because if you do that, then you're not going to get the United. Your card might get pulled off of it and put on this other one, right? So I think I love the idea. I think it will never happen because the companies that are part of it just won't allow it to.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I'm hoping that some part of like that subscription fee would be used to like pay to kind of grease the wheels there, but that's businesses doing business things. So I absolutely see where you're coming from though. Lani, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I see this kind of like a pay to play type of scenario. It's like you have something out there, you can pay for X and get a little bit extra. Oh, because like as RJ had just mentioned, we can all have our systems and our apps and our rewards programs that already work in our favor, but it's also stops like right there. There are very, 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 very small options to get multiple reward currencies from a single transaction. I know I've talked about like Chase Sapphire and Lyft. combo where you can get your chase points and then like Delta points, or chase and built points at the same time. I think last week I had even brought up the American Airlines with the Shell gas station, so I could use a gas card and get American Airlines at the same time. It's only very, very small stacking opportunities of that caliber of like multiple reward strategies that are out there. But with this type of subscription service, and it doesn't have to be something like one to one or even something massive, but the simple fact of I could use X card and maybe kind of like the lift in CS Sapphire promo, maybe just get 2 points per dollar from a currency of my choice, whether it be a hotel or airline. That I'd be amenable to that. Is it going to be enough to get a free trip at the end of the year? Absolutely not. But is it enough to like do two things? One, start uh, collecting those small amount of points little by little, but also that counts as an activity on those accounts that have expiration dates like American and Delta, if you don't have the credit card, that is, or IHG, if you don't have the credit card, that is, where now I can actually use this like little 2 points per dollar transaction to keep my accounts open so I don't lose all these miles or points later on.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that. I think one thing that could work would be something where like you get to pick your primary subscription, or like with in the subscription model, and I'll probably flesh this out more. You get to pick like your primary point earning, and then if you pick like a secondary and tertiary, that those would be at reduced point levels. So like I'll get 3 points per dollar with Built, but I'll only take like 2 points per dollar with United and Marriott. But I get to extend my points with Marriott because I'm getting 2 points per dollar on the transaction. Maybe that's something that could work as like a compromise, where each one that you're putting on, you're taking on the responsibility of only getting a reduced number of points, so that Marriott's not paying out as many points as somebody who isn't using Marriott as their primary option. That could work. It's definitely something I want to flesh out some more, but yeah, I definitely see where everyone's coming from.
I'd even go as far to say to add debit cards into the mix. As we know, most debit cards don't earn anything. It's just straight cash out of your bank account. But to be able to subscribe to this rewards network, and now I can link my debit card to it. Even though and I'm not talking about me when I say me. I'm talking about maybe that teenager that got their first bank account, still in college. They might be living off their debit card. At least they could use that particular debit card, sign up for a subscription like this, and start earning rewards with a card that normally wouldn't give them anything.
Yeah, even if you swiped it and got like 1 point per dollar.
It's more than zero.
They could do something like what Rakuten does, where like I have my Chase cards connected to my account that pays out in MR points. So technically, when I use my Chase card, I get the points from the Chase card for whatever I did, and I get the points from the purchase converted into MR points. So it may be something like that, but we'll see. I would love to see it, but I don't think they'll do it.
I just want to say, using Chase cards to earn MR points feels illegal. Like that just makes me feel dirty. That
It
just
makes me
it just
so
doesn't
happy.
feel right.
When I figured out I could use Chase to get MR points, I was so happy. It was a great day.
Watch, next month they're going to shut it down because someone said.
I'm so disappointed in you that you just like shut down RJ's point stack. I am upset with you, Tariq. Go sit in the corner. There's nothing wrong with a point stack ever.
I love the stack.
Now go sit in the corner and think about what you just said.
All
and
right.
We'll be right back, folks. We'll be right back.
Wow, that took a turn. I love it. Yeah, I definitely with that level of point stacking, I think something can be arranged. And it's a niche of a niche of a niche, and these are people who are going to spend money. And at the end of the day, I think some of these businesses would prefer that they attract people in who are going to spend money. But I absolutely hear you, and I'm not trying to say like, oh no, I'm right. No, um, but yeah, no, everybody makes solid points there. Let's turn the topics over to Mr. Call Me Lonnie.
For sure. So I had a conversation with a really close friend of mine, actually a colleague, somebody that I worked with that was looking up credit cards, hopped on YouTube, and then saw some videos of mine. Like, hey, I didn't know you were a YouTube creator. That's pretty cool. And started asking me questions this week. And one of the things we got into a deep discussion about that really is the inspiration behind this question I'm going to ask to all three of you. And it's a two-part question is how do you build your strategies or the strategies that you guys adopt into that is. So there's a single strategy method and a multi-strategy method is what I'm going to call them. Single strategy could be like, I'm a novice. I maybe only have one travel card and that is it. I'm just put everything on that one card and get whatever points. Or the world that I specifically live in, like my strategy that revolves around, chase points and United miles, like something of that nature. So it's like that's my plan A strategy. You heard me talk about it before. That works. Then you have this multi-strategy option where you kind of like adopt almost everything. These are the people that might have a Citi card, an Amex card, a Chase card, a Bilt card. They just got points, kind of like points and miles, kind of everywhere, and it's just I'm just gonna get what I can, like almost like a smash and grab, or even for those that get multiple cards. Like I just got this sign up bonus, boom, I got it, boom, move on to the next one. Sign up for another card, get the next sign up bonus, boom, hop to the next card, get the next sign up bonus. So I would consider that like a multi strategy. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because he had mentioned, and he actually called it this, renting a strategy. So he goes onto YouTube and he finds creators like us that's like, hey, here's what I do to get from point A to point B or whatnot. And he just kind of adopts what they do. I just rent that strategy until that strategy doesn't work for me anymore. And then I go find someone else and I rent that strategy until that strategy doesn't work anymore. So my first question, what type of strategies do you guys have? Would you be more of the single or the consolidated strategy or more of a multi strategy? And then the second part is Endgame. So the Endgame part, actually, I am inspired by Chad of Chad's Money Minutes of when is it enough? When do you kind of like, I got what I got and I'm happy with what I got? How many cards is enough? Or when do I just like stop applying for cards and I just like, for example, once again, my plan A strategy, I don't need to do anything else. Yes, I have a plan B strategy. I've talked about it before. My plan A strategy has worked for me for over a decade. I don't really need to change it. I can just kind of like modify it or add on to it. As I had mentioned like a week ago. No, I didn't mention it on this, but within the last week, you saw my last live. I just got my first hotel card, but it fits perfectly within my strategy. So that's still in my overall single strategy. And for like when I was thinking about this whole end game aspect of I really don't need another card. Will I get another card? What card would I even get if I decided to get another card? Or should I just start recycling cards? So I'm over 48 months on my CSR. Should I product change it next time they do an offer and then like go apply for it again? Should I start recycling cards? So first question, single, multi-strategy. Second strategy, or second question, what is your end game timing? Are you there? Do you think you're there? Do you see light at that end of that tunnel, or are you still working on it? So I want to kick that two-part question off to RJ first. Like, what you working with?
So I would have what I would call a dual strategy, which is sort of a hybrid of the single. I have MR points and chase points. Those are really what I'm actively working to get. I have a Capital One card. It was a moment of me being like, oh, I can use all of these transfer partners, and no, I can't. And I had to do some gymnastics to get my my Cap One points over to Hilton, which took a lot of time and a very nice colleague of ours to get them there. So really it's Amex and Chase. Amex probably takes up about 70% of the oxygen in the room, and then Chase has the other 30%. because Amex is Amex, I can't ever really have a pure Amex system because if I go overseas, if I do other things, Amex isn't accepted everywhere. So I have to have some level a hybrid system, just by the nature of Amex. I think that I'm roughly where I want to be in terms of I have Amex cards. I have a lot of Amex cards. I like the cards I have. A lot of it's going to depend on gold refreshes, but it's like moving from, 3 different levels of gold card and 3 different types of gold card down to maybe one, in the next year or things like that. I don't think I'm going to move away from Amex. I don't think I'm going to move away from Chase unless Wells gets the partners that I need, because at this point, my attachment isn't necessarily to MR points or ultimate rewards points, it's to the transfer partners they allow me to get. So though Delta is locked, I have no choice but to do Amex. Even if I didn't want to do Amex, the only credit cards Delta has is Amex. So I'm doing Amex. Well, if I'm going to do Amex, I also like Marriott and Hilton. So I'm locked there. I get Marriott from Chase, so I'm locked there. So I kind of am forced to be where I need to be because of how I travel. So I kind of am at the end of the road as far as system, unless something changes in the industry. And at that point, I'll reevaluate, but nothing is going to stay the same. So in 10 years, the landscape might look very different. I think we all have to adapt that way. But as far as right now, I am where I have to be.
That makes total sense. Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all. Matt, what you working with? Where you sitting?
So I guess it would sort of be a multi-strategy, but that's just because it's multiple issuers to hit the same goal. What I mean by that is I like to fly JetBlue. The JetBlue credit cards are issued by Barclays. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. Hopefully, Wells Fargo can buy out the contract at some point, but I'm not going to live in that la la land. I just need JetBlue to survive first and foremost. JetBlue is a transfer partner with Chase 1-to-1. So like my Chase points, I can move over to JetBlue, especially if they ever have like bonuses on those. And then, I use my JetBlue card. I get a 10% rebate every time I use my points, which is great. Like that's why I got the card. So like I have a Barclays card, but I'm not in on Barclays. My dual setup would be more Chase and Wells Fargo. Why not American Express? That's a great question. I can answer it this way. I don't spend enough for American Express taste. Like I'm not that guy. Like I can get the welcome offers, and after that, it's going to be a struggle to maximize with American Express along the way. So I'm going to stay with Chase. I've got Wells Fargo. Now I know, I've got to deal with Chase's marketing thing and always have Wells Fargo kind of on the back burner because I got the Wells Fargo cards early. I try to do my strategy around where I want to go and who gets me where I want to go. So if it's an airline, I have to have the ability to transfer either to the airline directly or learn how to book through their partners. JetBlue, I have to book directly. If I want to do United, I can use United. I can use Avianca. I can use other Chase Star Alliance partners to make those bookings as needed. Or it's Chase, I can book straight with United. If it's something like IHG, I've got Chase. If it's Hyatt, I've got Chase. If it's Marriott, I've got Chase. If it's Hilton, I did the weird thing of I went and got the Hilton card. And that is another part of this multi-strategy, but Hilton's the only thing I'm interested in on the American Express side. If Hilton ever went to another hotel, went to another issuer, and that relationship changed because it's changed before, because American Express hasn't always had the Hilton cards. They were previously with Citi. So if Hilton moved to another issuer, I could move with Hilton. So that's the only odd duck. But everything kind of goes around with like how I want to get there and where I want to be when I get there. So I have choices across. I have a lot of choices between Chase, Wells Fargo, and if I add the build card or keep building up build point, or as I keep building up build points, I have another transfer strategy right there. And built gets me everywhere. Bad transfer points along the way with like Hilton because it's 1-to-1. but I can always buy Hilton points if I need Hilton points. So I don't have to worry about that. So it's sort of a multi-strategy, sort of RJ's dual strategy. I kind of focus things on how do I want to get there? What tools do I have available to me? And what I can use, what point systems I need to use to get there. As for endgame timing, stuff like that, light at the end of the tunnel, I'm still new to the whole travel side of things. I could go get pretty much any card I want. It's just for me right now, I've realized just hitting welcome offer after welcome offer doesn't make a lot of sense until I'm like ready to do those big trips. So while I'm doing small stuff, a small welcome offer can get me a lot of stuff. And I'm not opposed to starting with a point transfer, booking with points, and then upgrading with cash later to keep building my relationship with that um institution. So like I book with JetBlue on points. I buy JetBlue upgrades and get JetBlue points with those upgrades, stuff like that. So it's a weird strategy, but I'm navigating it to a place where I'm good with two issuers and whatever other cards to fit the places I want to go will be how I approach things.
I like that Matt makes it sound like I spend a ton of money because I'm an Amex fan. I do appreciate Matt making me sound more affluent than I am.
Yeah, that's a common misconception about American Express. And wait for my next video where I bring up exactly that, RJ. I verbatim bring up exactly that. But Matt, I love the way that you contextualize the why picking your partners first is so important. Like, what airline do you want to fly on? Not even like you only have to pick one airline. Like you say, JetBlue, I pick United. You can have a couple of different airlines, but just pick your partners first. And then just the way that your entire monologue was just once I had my partner set, I can get cards that just keep funneling into those partners. That's my single strategy, as everyone knows. But I'm not going to get into that because I'm going to pass the mic to Tariq.
Before I even start, I just want to say I'm just glad that RJ feels heard in regards to your future video, Lani. I'm sure she greatly appreciates that. My strategy, it's kind of hard to explain. I guess the way I could contextualize is kind of like a single stackable strategy that has the potential or the avenues to go multi. So obviously, I pick my partners, United and Hyatt. So leaves me with Chase and Built for the most part, but I don't yet have the Built card, mostly because rent goes for subspend, but it is on my radar for the near future. Um, there are potential other international things, especially me with my girlfriend playing two-player mode. She mentioned wanting to eventually go to Japan. So aside from United business class to Japan, I'm looking at like ANA, and ANA is only bank the only bank that transfers to ANA is American Express. So that's going to be something in the near future for me. But for the most part, right now, it's just funneling Chase points to Hyatt, but also earning United miles through stacking with Mileage Plus X and United Mileage Plus stacking. Oh, and regarding the end game, I don't know. This is literally my first year doing travel. And again, with Chase cards, they're they're one of the more probably the most churnable ecosystem regarding banks. So like every 2 years I can get a new Freedom card. Every 4 years I can get a Sapphire card, and I think it's 2 years for United cards. So I don't know if they'll. I mean, that could be like part of the end game strategy, knowing I'm going to keep those cards, but I don't know when it's going to be enough for me because I'm just starting. Like it feels like the world is my oyster in regards to the points on Miles game. So I don't know. Holler at me in a couple years, and maybe I'll get a better answer.
No, that's a valid answer, especially as as you had mentioned, that you're just getting started. So you don't know what's going to unfold. You probably haven't really locked in your partners yet. You maybe have your go-to partners right now, but then you might go on a trip, like you say, you'll go to Japan on A, and all of a sudden you're like, yo, I just stayed at Hyatt. I never want to stay at another hotel chain again, or I just stayed at Hilton. I never want to stay at another hotel chain again. I mean, that's what happened with me at Intercontinental. I got a little taste of it, and I'm like, I don't want to stay at any other hotel ever again. um, but yeah, and the other thing, because Matt brought this up too, is can we all not sleep on the built card? Because I'm not even going to say the built card, the built points are highly overlooked when you realize the versatility of actually what you can get with them. There's stuff you can get with built points you can't get with any other travel board. But you know what? We're going to save that for next week. Maybe, if I remember. All right. I'm going to go ahead and dead that one. But thank you for sharing your strategy, your single, your dual, or your multi strategy. And then your viewpoint on your end games as well. So I'm pretty sure no matter what Chase does, Chase is going to be around for a while. Matt, I agree. I saw your video earlier this week. We had a conversation about it. If Chase opens up the MX Gold equivalent, I'm out. I'll cancel my MX Gold card. That's all I'm waiting for. That's part of my in-game strategy as well. But sorry, RJ. I do like my MX points. I just don't use them as heavily as I use my Chase points or my built points.
It's
Or any
okay.
other.
Tariq, though, when you're ready for Amex, hit me up. I got some referrals.
All right, I got you, RJ. I got
And share those referral links. All right, passing the mic to Tariq for his topic of the week.
All right, so topic of the week. I've it was a lot of thought that we are a points in miles podcast, and we have talked about some redemptions, but I don't think we have really done any sharing. And I figured I'd be the first to share. Last week, I decided that after working 12 days consecutively, I needed a break, and I did a staycation downtown in my hometown. So I ended up picking the Grand Hyatt downtown San Antonio Riverwalk. Great hotel, great views. And as I was thinking, I was like, okay, cool. I am going to do things downtown. So let me see what I will earn. And I actually kept track, and I kept track and seeing how many Chase points, how many United miles, and any other miscellaneous points, miles, cashback that I was going to earn on the trip. So I took two cards. I took my Sapphire Preferred and I took my Freedom Flex. That was really all I needed. And of course, I do use Mileage Plus X. I use it whenever I could. So I have the totals. And once I share the totals, I'm going to open the floor up to any comments, opinions, or questions that you'll have for me. So, of the weekend, it was a 2-night stay. I redeemed 34,000 Chase points to Hyatt. And that was a one king bed with the lounge access to the Grand Club. Stayed on the 23rd floor. Beautiful, loved it. So when it comes to earning, I spent, it was $278.39. That was movie tickets, circus, and dinners, and also just parking. Total, I earned 1,103 UR points, 936 United miles, and 28 bill points. And that was because I took a lift to and from the stadium, the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, for the circus. So all in all, I had a lot of 3X and 5X that I earned, and especially with the movie tickets and the circus that I bought through StubHub, having those great 5X stacks. Thank you, Chase, for the quarter 3 category. I love my Freedom Flex. So I think that was a great redemption weekend and a great earning weekend. So I want to see what y'all think, and I'm going to let Matt take a swing at his first opinions. What do you think, Matt?
No, it sounds like it was a great staycation weekend. Mileage Plus X always getting that stack. If nothing else, like hitting mileage plus X and all your other points on that one, that's always a win. One question for you: did you book entirely on points, or do you do a mix of points and cash? Just pure curiosity.
The entirety of that stay was just straight points. I've earned, God, I can't even think about. I mean, I've earned 90,000 points just on the Sapphire Preferred, plus like the 20,000 on the Freedom Flex sign up bonus, and I've had the 5x gas and grocery that it was stacked on like Q1 and Q2 and Q3. So I've earned just a boatload. I've probably already amassed well over 100, 140, 150,000 chase points just by myself. And that's not even touching my girlfriend's stash. She's got like 70,000 that's just sitting there. And I think I'm even at the moment currently at like 85,000 UR points. And since I'm already earning enough United Miles through Mileage plus X, that's just going towards Hyatt. And I like how far my Hyatt, like how far I can get with Hyatt points. So for the time being, until I need to, it is going to be straight points for hotels.
Okay. The reason I asked is I recently did just like a one night getaway for myself, and I did it at a Hilton property. And to book it the complete night on points, it was going to be 36,000 points, and it was like $140 for the night. And I'm like, 36,000 points for $140 doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But Hilton has recently introduced miles and points book, miles and cash, points and cash booking. Geez, that took way too many times. But you could do a certain number of points and then pay the rest in cash. So I was like, okay, I'm not really sure I want to spend 36,000 points for this night, but I'll do 15,000. I'll pay the rest in cash and throw it all on my Hilton card and just start regenerating some points. Like I ended up losing 10,000 points overall, but I got to regenerate like 3,000 points on top of the instead of just like losing out completely on 15K points. So part of what I was asking was just so that like I feel like there are times where it's sort of okay to book some with points, use some of your points and book with cash just so that you regenerate some of your points along the way. Um, but that's just me. So I just wanted to kind of just see where you might be on that idea.
Yeah, I can completely understand, but I think in regards to, you said it was at a Hilton, so I know Hilton is really points expensive regarding their rooms, and as long as Hyatt still has their award chart, I'm still waiting to see when it is advantageous to actually book a Hyatt stay in cash, because Hyatt hotels are kind of expensive on the cash sides compared to points. So if it wasn't for that, I would probably do like Marriott or IHG for like cash bookings. Uh, Lonnie, what did you think? Obviously, I wanted your thoughts on me using Mileage Plus X the entire time, but all in all, what you got? Any opinions for me?
Well, now that you're out of the corner, yeah. I mean, that sounded like a great redemption weekend. Sounded like it was much needed. I mean, like your haircut is fresh. I see your pores, your complexion are nice and good. Your pores are all closed up. So, you know me on team take the trip. If you need that break, you need whatever it is that you need. And I'm not even going to say like was 34 or I think you said 34,000 points for the hotel. Um, is that a good amount or not a good amount? You said Hyatt. I don't know which Hyatt. It probably wasn't Park Hyatt. Could have been like Hyatt Place, maybe. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you got to use the points on something. They're not worth nothing until you use them. You used them. You had a relaxing weekend. You enjoyed yourself. You made some points back. I'm just gonna go ahead and preface once again. Do y'all know how valuable the Mileage Plus X app actually is? Even if you don't fly United, you should be using that. You could just use it. And your boy finally got back in this week as well. This has been a good week. Anyway,
Woo!
Yeah, they let your boy back. I did a $5. I got the email and I did a $5 purchase just to make sure, and it went through for the first time in over 4 years. I went back through. So yeah, they messed up. So- but no, you redeemed your point. You did the right things to get some of those back, so you can just repeat the cycle. It's not a square, it's not a cube, it's a wheel. So you use them, you get them back. You use them, you get them back. You keep using them, get them back. You just keep going around that hamster wheel like that. So no, sounds like a good little staycation to me. I might
Yeah,
need to
I'm
do that.
definitely gonna have another one in the future. But it was a Grand Hyatt, category
Grand
3
Hyatt.
downtown,
Yeah,
23rd floor. Like I said, beautiful, love the views, and definitely gonna take the trip again. And I think the next staycation, um, I think is gonna be there's a Hyatt Regency resort
yeah,
that I'm going to spoil myself and spoil my girlfriend on. And some of those are going to be some cash things for the spa, but that's going to be in the future
yeah.
because we're going to have another good staycation. Yes, sir. RJ, I know we talked about this off air before. I know you were living vicariously through me on it. So what else did you think about it?
So I have a couple of thoughts. The first is I love that you picked a topic where you get to brag. I respect that. I respect you for that. Um, I think the second thing is to note how different you and I are on trips. I care about points and miles and all that in the online shopping and the day-to-day stuff and the whatever, right? Like as I'm planning a big trip in February for my mom's birthday, I'm thinking about every point and mile I do leading up to that, right? Because I need hundreds of thousands of points to pull this trip off, right? When I am on vacation, I don't care. I'll use my gold card for like a taxi ride, or I'll use like my platinum card for dinner. Like, not really, guys, relax. But what I mean is when I'm actually on vacation, I don't care so much. Like, I mean, I have the Blue Business Plus, so that just gets most things, right? So I don't have to think too hard. I am very proud of you. I'm glad that you have the Mileage Plus X. I'm very proud of all you did, but it does sort of highlight to me, like when I'm on vacation, I don't want to think about like anything but what my lunch order is and does the bar have the bourbon I like? Those are the two questions I want to ask on my vacation. That is it.
Well, they don't call me Flex Gains for nothing, and it's not just for that Freedom Flex card. But honestly, it does help with the Mileage Plus X app when I use it to figure out where I'm going to eat. And it does kind of influence that. So it's just like, hey babe, where do you want to go eat? I don't know. What are you thinking? Opens up Mileage Plus X. How about Yard House? Yard House sounds good. Not knowing that she knows, but she doesn't know how many it's for the miles. Hey, it's downtown and it was 1 a.m. I don't need your look, Lonnie.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry for anyone that supports or Yard House that's watching this. Yard House does not sound good.
It is okay. Again, it was like 12 o'clock in the morning, and surprisingly, a lot of restaurants downtown in the Riverwalk close at like 11 or midnight. So options are
Yeah,
limited. Hey, I picked
that
IHOP on Saturday night. So you know what? I don't care. I was happy. Food was good enough, and I
yeah,
earned
these
my
ain't points,
points.
man. You gotta you can't just be happy with some mediocre meal. This is when you eat sleep for dinner because the breakfast restaurants are way better than the late night restaurants. You just eat some sleep, get you some like cinnamon waffles in the morning.
Vacation, and I still wanted to earn the miles. I was happy. It's not like when I go out to like when I'm going out of town and I'm like, okay, cool, find the good stuff. I'm at home. Let me enjoy my New York cheesecake pancakes from IHOP at 12:32 in the morning. I am okay.
as a New Yorker, I'm pretty sure that's actual sacrilege. Just saying.
Yeah, and you're very adamant about this justification, Tariq. Are you okay? Blink
I am
twice
very
if you're
much
okay.
okay. I am just very passionate, but you know what? I'm good. Next vacation, we'll probably eat at the restaurant on property. But I think unless anybody else has anything else to say, that is my take. And next time I will have a topic that provides more thought instead of just me having a not so humble brag. All right, RJ, I think it is your turn to bring us home on the topics.
So a couple of days ago in the venture Discord, some people were having sort of a conversation on churning and like, I don't care about categories. You know, I use one card for everything. I think Anthony did a video on it or a live on it as well. And it sort of got me thinking the polar opposite of that, right? Like if we had to pick 5 cards, look at the categories, look at how we want to put together a wallet, no more churning, no more upgrading, downgrading. Like if we just wanted to sort of sunset ourselves into our golden years in, 30 years or 50 years for Tariq, like how would we do that, right? How would we just sort of ride off into the sunset? And what would our wallet look like to do that? So I spent literal days on this. I have spreadsheets with a bunch of cards just for research purposes. And I made so many spreadsheets on this and I had my answer. And then Chase decided that a $195 business card can't transfer out to partners. And I had to redo my entire video that will come out on Thursday about this. And I had to redo my list. I appreciate Matt for correcting me because I was going to make a big boo-boo. But anyway, I came up with my list, which is I picked Amex. Is anybody surprised? I don't think anybody's that surprised. I picked the platinum, the gold, the green, the blue business plus, and then my 5th card, because God love me, I'm an Apple fan. Amex and Apple, I know how to pick them. I picked the Apple card because I buy a new iPhone every year. I buy Macs every other year or an iPad every other year. I am literally wearing the most ridiculous, comes with a bra, pair of headphones you will ever have, and I love them and I wear them every day and all day. So yeah, so those are my 5. If I had to ride off into the sunset, cards I would pick. Lani, what is in your final wallet, sir?
Okay, so this is a slightly hard question. Can I just consolidate all my chase cards that earned you R points into just one card? 'Cause that's what I'm doing for all the points anyway. If the
Sure.
answer is no, I can go around that.
No, I will give you that.
Yeah, so I consider myself, I have a Chase Sapphire Reserve. Actually, I'll give you both options here. So I have my Chase Sapphire Reserve, which I said a million times I will not cancel. I actually get more than enough value out of it over the $550 annual fee. I don't care what y'all call it, effective annual fee. Actually, that might be a topic we save for next week because I got some. You want to talk about terminology like last week? Effective annual fee, RJ. But anyway, so my CSR, um, let's just say I'm not consolidating them all. My United card, which is Chase, but it doesn't earn UR points, of course. My MX Gold, my MX Platinum, which is basically just a subscription service with a card attached to it, and my IHG card would be my 5. But if I couldn't consolidate, I'd get rid of both MX cards, to be completely honest. Freedom Flex would have to get added in there. Freedom Unlimited would have to get added in there as well. Because I need those UR points to consolidate to my CSR to get my travel portal boost, all the other boosts that I get from the CSR. CSR is not going anywhere. It's in both scenarios, consolidation or not. But that's probably where I would sit. And my debit card, because every once in a while you just need some cash. If debit cards count. I know it's not a credit card.
I wasn't. One of my scenarios literally was use the Charles Schwab debit card and have 5 Amex cards. That was a scenario of which I considered, but you
Yeah.
know.
I actually carry my debit card with me all the time. Do I ever use it? Hardly not. But when I need it, has it come in clutch? 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tariq, what are your 5?
So, I'm not going to do the consolidation thing, but since that already knocks out 3 of my cards, so I am going to go with the Chase trifecta. Obviously, got to have the Sapphire Preferred. I got to pay the initiation fee to transfer my Chase points, and of course, Freedom Flex and the Freedom Unlimited to be the earnings. I would also have the Built MasterCard because I am a renter, and once I'm done using cards, since I'm not churning or getting subs, getting a nice, 1,000+ points a month just with Built, plus, put my insurance in the first of the month, and then I just need 3 other charges, which I eat out enough to earn a decent amount of Built points. And then the final card would be the United Club Infinite card. For one, I want to have unlimited lounge access and the first and second check bags. And additionally, because even though I am a primary Hyatt, because the footprint is not as small, not as big as your Marriott's, Hilton, IHG, I have a backup, which would be IHG. So I would definitely utilize the IHG Platinum Elite membership that comes with it. Also, thank you, Matt, for reminding me. Because I didn't think about that at first, but kudos to Matt for jogging my memory and realizing that it has that. Plus, $75 that I can do towards whatever with IHG is a benefit. And then, of course, I think it's like Avis status. So it's definitely like my big travel card, basically the American Express Platinum for United, just without all the coupons.
Matt, if you can get over the pain of somebody picking the Chase Sapphire Preferred, you can go next.
So for my 5, if we can consolidate into your point earning cards, then the Sapphire Reserve, the Ink Unlimited, and the Ink Cash will do me just fine for UR point earning. Then I'm not going to consolidate on the Wells Fargo side, but an autograph will be required. Now, I'm just going to go with the autograph right now. I don't necessarily want the autograph journey, and we don't know what autograph beyond looks like, so I can't say autograph beyond, unfortunately. But I am going to go with Wells Fargo with the autograph and the active cash. So if we're consolidating, I'm going to go with that's 3 slots. Then probably the build card would be my next slot, and then I'm torn between the Apple card because the Apple card is really functional if you shop Apple a lot, especially when you do those 12 or 24-month payment over time periods, because those are built right into the card. You don't have to worry about, oh, now I need a 0% either business card or like a Sapphire or a Freedom Unlimited. Yeah, I like that the Apple card gives me that security, which is really helpful. So I'd probably say the Apple card. The other one would be a JetBlue card, just because I love the 10% back on redemptions. But I will say, if you have the option to just have like a Chase slot with all UR point earning cards, aspire a little bit. Get yourself that higher end annual fee card. Like you don't have to just get the preferred. Like you get the preferred because you only need the preferred. Go for the Sapphire Reserve. It's just going to make your life so much better. If you think your life is good with the Sapphire Preferred, your life will be so much better with the Sapphire Reserve. Just infinitely better.
By the end of 2025, will I hold all 3 premium travel credit cards? Tune in for our next episode and see.
I can safely say I might hold three premium cards at that point.
Matt, as much as I understand, until Chase decides that the Sapphire Reserve will give United Club access, similar to how the Platinum gives Sky Club access, give me my United Club card, and I will just pay the initiation fee to transfer my points, and then earn an additional like 0.1x on my dining versus my other Freedom cards.
Okay, the rule does say it has to be able to be applied for directly, which does kind of limit some things. But man, the JP Morgan Reserve card would give you everything you want, and it's $40 more than the Sapphire Reserve.
Matt, I don't have $10 million. If I did,
there's ways around it.
Cool.
There's ways
different
around
stores. I would like to make sure that I can do it legally, ethically, and
you're an accountant. Can't you fudge some numbers somewhere? Isn't that like what you people do?
I like to keep my job and not end up in federal prison. Thank you very much. And it would take me God. You know, I don't want to think about retirement. I'm 25. So, yeah, no. Just give me my club card and we'll call it a day.
I think that's probably a great spot to close up on that discussion. You have 5 cards publicly available. That was really rough homework, RJ. I was cursing your name a little bit over the weekend while I was trying to figure that out. Um, but yeah, I think it's always a fun exercise to go through because when I was trying to do this, I was like, but this card makes a lot of sense for this, but how much do I value that? But this other card does this other thing that's really cool, but how much do I value that? And like at the end of the day, I was just like, I'm gonna keep my chase cards, I'm gonna keep my Wells Fargo cards. I'd love to add a build card, I'd love to add another card. Oh yeah, the Apple card. That's infinitely valuable, and I always forget about how infinitely valuable it is to be. So
I agree. And I know the mortgages hasn't officially launched on the build card, but if that were available as of right now, that would 100% take the place. I'd probably get rid of my platinum. I don't know what I'm going to do with my platinum, as RJ said. Am I going to have multiple premium travel cards? I have CSR, I have platinum. I'm going to get platinum with solid 12 months, and I'm really going to reevaluate it. But it's really easy to see. That's why I call it the subscription service. It does nothing for me on the earning side. But from a value standpoint, it's actually a really great card. It has a lot of value, especially travel day value. Man, your travel days are completely different. Getting to the hotel and all of a sudden you got credits and all this other stuff and upgrades. There's a lot of value to it. We'll see if it's worth it. But built card could easily slide in there in my top 5 as well.
I just want to say, RJ, thanks a lot for making me think while I was on my staycation. Really, with friends like you, who needs enemies?
Look, the having philosophical debates about credit cards is why I roped all of you into doing this podcast and had to get the blackmail that I did. So deal with it.
So yeah, we'll keep it moving. There are no viewer questions for this week. If you want to leave us a question, definitely drop a line either in the comment section of the YouTube video when this posts to YouTube. There is a way to reach out to us, I believe, via our email address. You can use the email address as well. Love to hear from y'all listening and watching. Just we want to start getting more of that interaction as well. So no viewer questions this week, but hey, throw us some questions next week. We'll see what we can do for answering you on there. YouTube comments and email address. And yeah, I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up for this week. If you guys want to find me, my channel is at Matt Clausen on YouTube. I usually do credit card tidbits, credit card news tidbits, some of my thoughts and philosophies on credit cards. I do speculation station, stuff like that. Lani, if we want to find you, where can we find you on the web?
I am also on the interwebs at Call Me Lani on YouTube. And Lani is spelled Lani. But yeah, that's probably the best place to find me. And I'm going to go ahead and sign out with I'm back in mileage plus X, baby. And also, it's been a long, long, dry season, but I'm back in there. But also, stay tuned to my channel. I just got my first hotel card. I got the IHG Premier card. I am ridiculously excited about to see how that changes everything. And I'm not going to say I'm going to flood my content with nothing but IHG stuff, but as I start using it and seeing how that changes from not having the card from my previous setup, but with Chase and United Miles and built points and all that other stuff to actually having the card, how that changes things. So stay tuned for that. So come check me out.
All I have to say is, took long enough, dude.
Shut
I'm
up.
surprised that you haven't had the. You know what?
Aren't you in the corner?
No, I'm not in the corner. You know what? I am not in the corner. Why? Because I'm a defiant. I'm a sassy little boy. You're gonna have to just make me.
That's you in the corner, man. That's you in the spotlight.
I ain't no corner.
I think you said too much. That song's older than Tariq, by the way.
Very much so. But but now it's stuck in my head. Thanks, Lani. Tariq, if we want to find you outside of the corner that you're currently in, where can we find you on the internet?
Well, until the scriptwriters say otherwise, just gonna be, for the most part, just chilling in the Venture Capital Discord. If you want to at me directly or DM me, my user is Gainesville323. And now that I'm back from my staycation, I will be more active in that, as long as I'm not spending hours on the new College Football 25 game that released, because I am a huge college football fan. And for the people that are watching this, huge for UTSA football. So, yeah, that's that.
Speaking of the scriptwriters, we tried to contact Tom Grassi, and he just was crying the Strouds over and over and over again. I'm not sure what's going on there. But we got to check in with him and see where we are about the villain arc that we're working on with you. RJ, if we need to find you on the internet, where can we do so?
You can find me at Do You Take Cards and replying to YouTube comments from the Stack Your Points YouTube account.
Fantastic. As always, everyone, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with more of the same, and maybe some news if there's any news that drops this week. Wells Fargo can't introduce any more cards, but they can introduce transfer partners, hopefully.
And will Tariq still be in the corner? To be continued.
You know what? I like the corner. You know why? It's hot there. It's always 90 degrees.
Tariq, for homework, you're going to have to give us a rendition of REM's Losing My Religion next week. All right, with that, this is Stack Your Points. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and see you next week.